What's up, everybody, and welcome to Growing Up Gaming, your weekly podcast where we meet a new person of the internet to discuss their childhood with gaming and how it inspired their lives today. My name is Mitch Power. Again, thank you guys so much for returning each and every week to the show. Hope you're subscribing there on iTunes or Google Play or what else? YouTube, Spotify, your local AM radio station. Either way, I appreciate it. This week on the show, we have our guest. His name is Jacob Plicque. I met this man through the help of Kyle Stevenson. He was nice enough to point me in the right direction of Jacob, so we get to have a discussion about his history with gaming and, you know, what kind of brought him to where he is today. If you guys want to be on the show just like he was, go ahead and send me a tweet at MitchPower1116 on Twitter or at the podcast Twitter page, which is at GUG Podcast on Twitter. Without further ado, let's get things started with Jacob Plicque. Do you remember what initially got you started playing games? Was it a family member? Was it a friend? Was it some awesome kiosk you saw at a store? Like, what got you started?
So, it's actually a question that I have internally debated on the actual correct answer of. So I'll give you two answers. The one I think is true and one I think is due to the benefit of time is more of a exaggeration.
Of course.
So
because your brain likes to do that.
Right, exactly. So, but I think it's my dad's fault. So, I'm the oldest of four. So I'm 32, born in 1986, October 7th, 1986.
What's up? What's up, 86?
Woo-hoo.
How you doing?
You know.
That's right.
You know, I graduated in 2004, high school. Oh, for show. So you already knew, man. You already knew.
That was everybody.
Everybody. It's the truth. It's the fucking truth. Anyway. So, my dad was, brilliant enough to, have owned a original, Nintendo Entertainment System, which is something that I am so, in hindsight, incredibly grateful for. So, the memory, it's not necessarily a memory that I have, but a memory that I've been told two conflicting memories. The first is that, Jacob Alexander Plicque III, which is my name, beat the original Super Mario Brothers at the age of 3.
Wow.
Which sounds unbelievable, right?
A little bit.
Yeah. But, of course, so, like, high school me is like, yeah, I did. Yeah, absolutely. Badass.
Brag, right?
Right, exactly. But then the more I think about it, I'm like, that doesn't really make a lot of sense. And then where the conflicting memory comes in is, well, and this is my dad who has this super bass voice, so I always have to, like, do this really bad impression of him and say, well, son, your experience with Super Mario Brothers goes a little bit something like this. Your babysitter would come over and watch you while your mom and I were at work, and you would get to the start menu, which of course is just 1-1, as everybody knows. You would press the right arrow, and you would walk down to the pit, and then that was my turn, and then my babysitter would, you know, play Luigi or whatever the next life was, and then when she died, I would pick up and back and forth. Now, the reason why that's conflicting is, like, this was around, you know, so this was so of course Nintendo Entertainment System 1985, 86. Right. If I'm 3, that means that we're talking 1989 or so,
right?
Which we were here I live in Jacksonville, Florida, so we were here, and that timeline makes sense. So I think that I didn't beat it, but I'd rather just say, yeah, beat it at 3 and go from there.
Right. I want to say, like, that was a similar situation, except for I was 6. So that's more plausible. Because I'm just thinking about something. My daughter right here is 3.
Right.
She barely can fucking function doing anything gaming related. So that's why I'm like, I'm not saying it's not true. However, it sounds way cooler. I don't think it is. It
does sound way cooler, right? Right? Yeah, and of course, I blow the spot by telling everybody, right?
But no, you're good. I mean, it's, again, like, the best thing is, here's what's crazy. Some of the best storytellers happen to exaggerate from time to time. So, whatever.
Whatever. Now here's the coup de grace of why I think that me beating Super Mario Brothers at the age of 3 is impossible, right? So as most people know, that same cartridge also had Duck Hunt on it.
Right.
My dad goes on to say that when I played Duck Hunt, I would just take the gun, walk up to the TV, and then just shoot. Right? Like, with the actual gun touched. I was just like, no 3-year-old is going to be intelligent enough to beat Super Mario Bros. Or maybe no on, let me roll back. Maybe I was intelligent enough because I was smart enough to be like, I'm too fucking far away. I'm just gonna go up to the television.
That's sure. You can look at it two different ways. You could be like,
so now that
too
now
smart.
That
Exactly.
I don't know.
If you want a good score, man, if you want to kill the Ducks right away, the smartest thing is just to get up front. However, lose all credibility as a gaming. Yeah, right. It's like, but like you said, no, that makes sense. No, I mean, to be honest though, everybody did that. Everybody, like, when you got pissed off at the thing, you're like, fuck this. Like, and the best part is touching the TV, as long as you're like, dude, if I touch my TV, my grandma would be like, man, boy, get the fuck back. Like, she would be mad as hell.
That's I'm so glad you brought that up because, like, completely coincidental from that, backing up, so my folks split up when I was 4, so this is like around 1990 or so. They've since got back together. They are remarried and they are happy. I'm the oldest of 4, so there was divorce, got back together, and 2 more kids. So
gotcha.
Happy ending. But I lived in New Orleans, Louisiana, for a couple of years with my mom and my grandma. And going back to your point about the TV, there was a line about 3.5 feet from the television. Mm-hmm. And it was always about staying behind that fucking line.
Wow.
And me and my little brother would always cheat. And like clockwork, we'd look around and we'd get a little closer. And like a fucking silver bullet, my grandma would come, grab us by whatever orifice she could find, leg, shirt, hair, whatever. Get your head behind.
Wow.
So
the line. Wow.
Line.
Was it? Hold on. Now, was it like a natural line from like a tile or a rug, or was it like a straight up tape mark on the ground?
Oh no, it's weird, right? Because this was in the den, as we called it, and it was like a line that it wasn't like a line of like tiles, like like square tiles.
Right.
The flooring was separated into like areas, and this had this long line that went all the way from the sliding glass door all the way to the other side into the kitchen, or on the other side into the living room. So it was just weird how it worked.
So
out.
She was just like, "That's the line right there. That's the line right there." There you go.
That's it. And of course, we would try to cross it every time.
Of course you do, because I mean, you're a kid, and kids try to push boundaries. That's what they do. My favorite moment was when my grandpa would be like sleeping watching the Braves. Whatever. He's watching the Braves on TBS. And I'm like, hey, I'm going to go sneak. And if somehow I don't get to help grandparents do this, like you moved across the line, your grandma was like, boom, called upon it right away.
It's the dad of the thermostat.
Right.
Do you have that, by the way?
Yeah. My grandpa would be watching the Braves game, falling asleep. And I'm like, yo, I'm going to watch Nickelodeon. Grandpa passed out. The moment I touch the remote, or the moment I go to touch the TV, it's like a light goes off or something. Like I get within a proximity and my grandpa's like, I'm watching that. I'm like, God damn it, Grandpa. You were just rolled over on the couch sleeping, looking towards the couch. You're not watching shit, Grandpa, but all right.
It's so unreal how because when you're growing up, you think that your issues are so unique. And as we like we've already had similar cross-line stories. We had similar grandpa stories in that end. And that's so wild to me. Like that, how the human experience is so connected in that way, as silly as it sounds.
Yeah, because I mean, a lot of people have similar things, but also some people have some very different things, and that's why I enjoy having so many cool guests on the show. And that's why I tell people all the time, like, hey, tell your buddies who want to be on the show to be on the show, because everybody's got different stories. How their gaming habits were. Some of us are identical, but there's nothing wrong with that either, because people also enjoy commonality with people too. They'll be like, oh yeah, exactly. I remember that. Was the same thing with me. So NES, growing up, you were the oldest of your siblings. How did you often play games with your siblings? Like, did you play many games together, or were you that dickhead big brother that was like, bro, you're a kid, get up out of here, this is mine? Like, how did that happen?
I was in the middle of that, as a matter of fact. So I definitely was, play with your brother, pay attention to your brother and stuff like that. So, and this is a pretty common thing. You're playing Sonic, because I was a Genesis kid after NES. So actually for the longest time, it was just Sonic 2, Sonic 3, and Sonic and Knuckles. That was all I had, but I was obsessed with those fucking games. I loved them so much, even to this day. So, of course, as most folks know, there is a 2-player mode or the ability to have the second player be Tails, right?
You mean true co-op, not that take turns Mario Luigi bullshit? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And not fucking time trial either. So, even though time trial is fun, I did enjoy it back in the day. So, the problem, of course, is I did the classic, here's the other controller, but I have it unplugged, which is a pretty common thing. Pretty common thing. So here's the thing. So I put air quotes. I played,
sure,
Sonic with my brothers. And I say brothers because, as I mentioned earlier, I'm the oldest of 4.
Right.
And so I also did this with my little brother under him for a while. For over 20 years, they did not know that they were not Tails.
Damn.
So, rolling that back, so of course, and the reason why I say right in the middle is I did play with my brothers.
Sure.
They thought that I was playing. So, we were we were over at my parents' house. This is pretty recent, like maybe a year or 2 ago. We were kind of reminiscing about the old school times and like, oh, remember when we beat Sonic together, Jacob? That was a good time. And I'm sitting on the couch just grinning, fucking this evil, devilish grin. And I was like, I gotta do it. I gotta spill it. So my little brother wasn't home at the time. So I told my little brother under me named Josh. I said, Josh, have a seat.
Oh no.
I was like, so remember, you remember that a little differently than I do, my friend. So, the controller was unplugged. It's like, what do you mean? It's like, so you mean I didn't do anything? No. I beat that game by myself. He was crushed.
I bet, because he's like, this whole time he's like, I thought I beat it.
And like, right, exactly. And so like, it's weird, right? So now, what's funny is, now that I'm telling you this, I feel awful about it.
Right.
At the time when I'm telling it, I was just like, you could have heard the Final Fantasy fanfare in my head. Da 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 da. And then proceed to about an hour later have the exact same conversation with Joseph, my little brother.
Just breaking hearts all day, man.
Yeah, and he took it even worse. He was like, seriously, Jacob? I'm like, yeah, man. That's the way it is. I couldn't have you ruin. Not that you could ruin anything as Tails anyway, but of course, when you're 7, the world revolves around yourself, and so it's So it was so
I've done that. I've done that for my small children. Like,
sure.
Like example, when me and my wife play Overcooked, my daughter who's 3, she'll be like, I want to play. And I'm like,
oh my god, I can't imagine having a 3-year-old playing Overcooked. Oh my god.
No, that wouldn't fucking work, dude. I'd put a gun in my mouth. No. My favorite, like, thanks. I can't do this. Well, there's times where me and my wife play Overcooked, and I'm like, what are we doing right now? Why? I tell people Overcooked.
Maybe I should play with my daughter instead. No, I'm just kidding.
I tell people Overcooked is the best game for showing you how good your relationship is with especially if you play with your wife or spouse, because like you could either be great and perfect and do the game so well, or you could be on the verge of a divorce lawyer, one of the two. Me and my wife, thankfully, good communication skills. We've 3-starred every goddamn map because we're so good at that game.
Absolutely.
But no, like when, for example, and I've done this, and this should tell you the value of how I feel. I'm playing games, and my 3-year-old's like, I want to play. And of course, she goes to grab because I have an entertainment center. I have PS3, PS4, 360, Xbox One, all controllers, all in different drawers, like organized because I'm OCD and I'm a nerd. So I go to pull out my Xbox controller, I start playing. She goes, I want to play, and she goes to grab my Xbox One controllers. I'm like, no, you put that down. We're not doing this. Grab one of those PS3 controllers, because I don't give a shit if you throw that thing across the room or not. I really don't care.
Right.
I haven't turned that thing on in way too long of a time. Go play with that. So now every single time she wants to play a game, she'll go and grab like the PS4 controller or the Xbox One controller. I'm like, no, your controllers. And she's like, okay. She opens up that PS3 controller, just throws them all over the place. I'm like,
Oh,
yeah, who gives a shit?
That's fine.
That's fine. Amazing. Who cares? I don't. Please don't break the Xbox One controller that I value most dearly. Like, break the DualShock 3s that nobody gives a shit about anymore.
Exactly.
That's how much I value my PS3.
But that's totally fine, and I think you're spot on. The question though is how long? That's a ticking time bomb, and you know it, right? Like between 4 and 5, she's gonna figure it out, right?
She's gonna figure it out. Yeah. The only thing I think that's cool is, and of course, like. They don't have this back then, but there's cool. Well, here's the other thing too. Kids are stupid too. Because they're kids. Their brains aren't developed, so it's okay to call them stupid. I'm not saying every kid. Well, no, every kid's stupid.
I think you're allowed to call your own kid stupid.
Yeah, no. It's okay to call your own kids. But when you break it down, like, hey, your brain's not developed. You're just stupid compared to an adult. Sorry, every kid is stupid compared to an adult. But the thing is now is. No controllers have a wire, so it's a little easier to fake it for a little longer.
Exactly.
Because before I tried that, giving kid wired control, and they're like, "No, bitch, like, no, we can't do this. I see you ain't got no wires. Like, what is this shit you're giving me?"
Yeah, right.
But as far as it goes, like, the only thing I think that's cool now is, and again, they didn't have this back then, is like co-op, or the co-pilot feature on Xbox. Have you ever heard of that or anything?
Not at all.
You literally can have 2 controllers control 1 input. So, for example, you can give your kid a controller, and you can actually like override it with a second controller. So it's meant to help literally people either with disabilities who can't fully use a controller, right?
Okay, right.
Or to help your kids play along. And it's a really cool feature that Xbox did. I think they mostly did it, though, too, because of the adaptive controller that was coming out. Like, his Copilot feature came out a long time ago, and people were like, I guess that's cool. Because, like, your kid can kind of move the stick on one controller, so he's holding a controller, moving the character while you're hitting all the buttons for, whatever it is.
Sure.
But now it works with the adaptive controller, so that way you can kind of have 2 controllers working as one together. Like, it's a cool feature, but... like I said, they didn't have that back then. Like back then, you had to fake plug in a control. Did you like plug it in looking like it was plugged in, or did you just like run it to the system and go, oh yeah, it's plugged in? Like
run it to the system. It was on a big kind of dresser, clothes, like 5 drawers deep, and then of course. Because of course you're a kid and they don't give a shit how small your television is, and then not realizing how shit our vision will become, because it was one of those 13-inch fucking CRTs, right? Sure. And so, of course, we're all the way to the back of our fucking bedroom. And in hindsight, how fucking ridiculous. But anyway, which is great to be able to fake that, because he's too fucking small to get up and see.
Yeah. He's not realizing each of these buttons aren't doing a thing.
Yeah,
And also, too, by the way, Tails, you could fake co-op pretty easily with Tails. Because Tails would do some stupid shit, and then she would just fly back. Like
I would love to sit down like a developer from Sega and like it, because it's one or two things. It's one, they knew this, and so it was like that way on purpose, or two, they started hearing stories about it and were like, man, we're fucking geniuses, and patting themselves on the back for like, keeping big brother and little brother relationships alive in 1991 and 2.
Right. Yeah, dude, Sonic was, like I said, it was the co-op game that you could actually play together. Like Mario and Luigi, like it's so odd when people say Super Mario Brothers is a 2-player game, and you're like, kinda. Like, I guess there's progress for 2 people, and the second control port works for Luigi, but it's just like, you're just taking turns, and you can do the same shit, like, in a single-player game. Like, okay, I'm sorry I died, here it's your turn now. So, like, when Sonic actually had co-op, and then when you went, like, and you actually were playing co-op, not that fake-ass co-op you told your brother you were doing, when you would get separated, it would go split screen, and it was like, you actually felt like you were working together, and I was like, oh no, this is cool. How much of a age difference were your brothers?
So my little brother under me, Josh, is 4 years younger, and and that's the crazy thing is it goes back to the point you were making earlier about how, like, different experiences kind of make our experiences less ordinary, because of course it's ordinary for me because it happened to me, right?
Sure.
So they split up for 7 years. So, so my little brother under me was born in 1997. So that's 11 years.
Right.
And then my little sister was born in 1999. So that's 13.
Jesus. Yeah. I think the biggest thing is, especially when you have siblings, and I mean, I was the oldest of my siblings. I had 2 sisters. So I never had a brother, which just sucks because I really wish I did. But like, we were 2 years apart and then 6 years apart, and or 2 years and then 8 years actually. But like, when you get to a certain, like, if it's 2 years apart, you kind of got some commonality, you know. For the most part, you're like, yeah, the older person's experienced this, but then like you're close enough to still be able to talk about it. When you get to the point where you're like so far apart, things are so drastic. By the time they're into what you were into back then, you're into way other shit by now. You know what I mean? Like, that's the one problem I have with, like, I hear with people, they'll say like, my older brother was like 10 years older than me. I'm like, dude, by the time you're 5, he's 15. Yeah. He's not giving a shit as much about video games at all. And you're just getting into it. Like, so I, you know, like my 2 of my kids and everything, are 2.5 years apart. So they talk about a ton of shit and they're similar and everything. But, you know, the next step down to my other daughter, they're 7 years apart. So by the time my 3-year-old is going to be into shit, my 10-year-old daughter right now, she's just going to be like, okay, kid. Like, they're, you know, at least they get along and they're into, you know, they try to understand, like, she's a baby and stuff like that. But also too, when you're, especially brothers, man, like, that's be like, little bro, you're into some shit. I ain't into that shit no more. Yeah.
And that's what's actually really interesting is we kind of, like, personality wise, like, I was the street smart kid, rebellious guy, and then my little brother under me was very book heavy, super intelligent, and then Joseph is like me, street smarts, hates going to school like I did, but can't get away with the shit I got away with because I got away with that shit.
Of course.
But he's just like, and I even warned him. I was like, I'm just telling you, everything you're thinking about doing, I already took care of that. So check that box.
Well, the other thing too is older people always get away with more shit because that's their parents' first try. So it's like, oh no, I learned all these things I'm not going to do with you, and I'm going to learn all the shit that your brother fucked up that I'm not going to let you fuck up. So yeah, I mean that happens and everything. So. Right. I mean, what are you going to do about it? So, were your parents... I mean, obviously your dad had the NES prior to you even probably being around. Like, so I mean, were they cool about you playing games, or did they ever give you shit like games are rotting your brain?
Lots of shit. Lots of shit. And that's what's strange about it, right? It's like you introduced me to this world, and now you're wanting to take it away. Right. I of course, like, you know, you need to do your homework and right. But of course, when you're 7, 8, 11, none of that shit fucking matters. Because as you know, we want to experience these other worlds and be able to talk about it with your friends on Monday and shit like that. So like, so it's strange. Like, yeah, I even to date, I never really found a way to put that together. So like, you introduced me to this, but now you're poo-pooing on it a little bit. Like, I never really got the context of it. Cause like, so, you know, and it wasn't like, well, the NES was for me, son. You know, you bought the Genesis for me. You know what I mean?
Right, exactly.
You bought the N64 for me. You bought the PS2 for me because I asked for it. Because Kingdom Hearts 1 was like blowing my mind, which is now blowing my mind now, which I'm like blown away by.
We'll get to that shit.
Yeah, it's been a very nostalgic day.
Right.
Kingdom Hearts 3 almost brought me to tears earlier this afternoon. So, but yeah, so it's really, but it's so super fascinating to me. It's like, but at the same time, like, you know, there have been moments where it really brought us together. A great example is my dad is a super sci-fi guy, and I had an Xbox 360, and I of course had Mass Effect because Mass Effect is incredible, and that was the first time that I can remember in a long time. And, you know, and obviously real life gets in the way. You know, me, this is because at this point I'm in college. I'm not even, so I'm in college now. You know, I'm an adult. But we had like just a sitting down on the couch and, wow, son, these graphics are unbelievable. I can't believe. And then like he was super into the story and so it's just like moved me. So like those experiences make your relationship with your parents better, and also the game is now legendary. and untouchable in my mind, right? And that was just a 30 minutes. So that was the, if you played Mass Effect?
I have, yes.
Okay. So that's just from the intro to like the first like mission on Eden Prime, I think is what it was. Mm-hmm. That was all he saw. But that was just like enough for him to be like, holy shit, that's amazing. I'm going to sit down and watch my son play video games. Which, how fucking cool is that?
That is awesome. And also, too, especially when you look back, especially with your experience, you look back and go, man, you gave me such shit for this. Look at how awesome these are. Look at how you could have seen this cool shit so long ago, but you gave me such shit. I think, as a parent, you want to introduce your kids to cool things, right? You also get to a certain extent where you just want to shut them up.
Right.
Being completely honest, you get to a point where you want to shut them up, but also too, you have to, for me, I personally didn't get any shit for video games, because school, I was fine. Like, they didn't have to tell me to do homework. They didn't have to tell me to do well in school. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it was just out of fear of what would happen had I not done well in school, but but I was one of those kids that like, and I think I'm such a fucking nerd about it. It was like, now, like, I would get homework, and I remember the example, my math teacher got so pissed off at me because I would walk into class, she would have the homework on the board, I would do it in class, not hear her, I would look at the book and go, that's how you do it, cool. Do the homework, hand it to her before I left. Mm-hmm. And she would be like, do you even listen to me? I'm like, fucking no, lady. No. You just told me what to do. I don't need to hear you explain it. I was
that kid too.
Yeah, and the thing is like, my parents never gave a shit that I played games because like I did well in school. Like I was on a roll all the time and I never had problems. I never, had a ton, nothing like, but when you acted like an asshole, they're going to take it away. Why? Yeah. Because it's the one thing you love more than anything in the world. Yep. As a parent, I understand that so clearly. Like my son, like I encourage him. I'm like, look kid, if you had straight A's, I'd let you play all day, every day.
Sure.
I would not care if you have straight A's. I can't tell you anything bad because, like, you can't work right now legally. You can't work. This is your job. Do well in school. That's all I'm asking you to do. Now you're gonna act a goddamn fool and not turn in your stuff and everything.
Yeah.
Cool. We're gonna take this away.
Yeah.
And I think he's finally gotten to the point now where he's like, if I just do this, I could play my games. Like, yeah, no shit, kid. I've been telling you that.
The common sense factor.
Yeah. I'm like, kid. I'm glad it took you so many years to get to that point, but here's the other thing too. Technology, hard blocks. You can't sign in for these hours to these hours.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's easy. It's a lot easier now than unplugging it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And bricking, hopefully, and not hopefully, but maybe bricking the system. And that's the thing, right? Is like, I know, like, obviously as an adult now, like, I know that was 100% on me, right?
Right.
When you're 11, it's the dealing with the issues of adolescence and shit like that. It's like,
of course.
It's the world is ending.
Right.
Because like because you couldn't beat, Star Fox 64 that day.
Yeah, like it was, like you said, though, again, kids are stupid, kids are selfish, they don't realize things, and, once they do, people, like, that just seems to open up. Like, we got to a point where my son was just acting a fool, and we took away games, and then he's just, like, still acting a fool, and we got him to a point where he had no toys in his room. He had literally a bed, a dresser, and that's it. And we had him like that for, like, a month, and finally he's like, yo, I could actually just have all this if I just listen and all that. I'm like, yeah, I'm glad you're getting this now because I'm trying to teach you responsibilities and things like that. But yeah, instead of physical punishment, which is very much frowned upon now, just take away the thing they love the most, and it's almost as bad. Like telling a kid, hey, guess what? You're not playing your Xbox all weekend because you have an F in social studies. That'll pretty much ruin their life.
Yeah, see, here's the problem with past kid Jacob is that instead of listening, I was like, well, I'm just going to pick the lock to dad's and mom's door, and I know where they're hiding it because they put everything in the top closet. And then I'm just, yep. Bro,
you are triggering me so fucking hard right now. Like, oh my God, if my kid did that, I'd lose my mind.
Yeah. And so like, and that's the thing, right? And like, I'm not going to go as far as to say that I was a bad kid, but I definitely didn't learn my lessons. You pushed boundaries. I did. And the funny thing is,
crimes, you were just pushing boundaries.
Actually, So I may or may not have stolen my father's vehicle with my little brother in it.
Allegedly.
Allegedly 3 or 4 times late at night at the age of about 11 or so to go to Walmart to play video games at the kiosk at like 2 or 3 in the morning. Several times. The last time it happened, I actually got pulled over.
Shit. Yeah.
Yeah. Because, of course, 11-year-old me didn't know how to turn on the lights when you're, at night. So I got pulled over. They, of course, called, my parents and got my fucking ass kicked.
Yeah.
Not kicked. But you get my point.
I got you. Yeah.
Yeah. My parents were not abusers, ladies and gentlemen. They're fantastic people.
Yeah. I'm sorry, but also, what the hell, bro? Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck me, right?
Yeah. Seriously, bro,
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, again, and that's the thing, man. It's like, wow, like all you had to do was be right, and you could have just asked your dad to take you to Walmart, man.
Right. But the thing is, there's always that rule. It's it's better to ask for forgiveness than it is to ask for permission.
See, here's the fucked up part about that.
That's
really how I live my life.
That's a bad thing to say, though.
Here's the fucked up thing about it is I feel that way, and it's worked in my favor in life as an adult, both and even as on the business side in my career, because I'm comfortable with taking risks.
Right.
You know what I mean? Now, that's not to say, well, I'm comfortable taking risks because I stole my dad's car one too many times, right?
Sure.
Or, but it's funny when you think about small moments like that cascade and things that you think about all of the time. Because a perfect example actually, I was because I knew we were going to do this, and I was this was late last week, and I was kind of thinking about my time as a child. I don't know how to word. And I'm assuming you play Link's Awakening, Zelda. Yes. Okay. For my money, that's the best Zelda game of all time. I will fight anyone, and I'll tell you why. So, and this goes back to my point about how something that is a super precious moment to me was just another day, for them. Which is not a problem, but I just thought it was crazy. So there's a picture of me somewhere in my parents' house of me with my original Game Boy, Link's Awakening in the cartridge, and I'm wearing, I think it's around Christmas. I got, cause I'm again October baby, so I got Link's Awakening and my Game Boy and Tetris and Metroid 2 and Super Mario, the coins, the one with Wario. I can't believe I remember all 4 of those.
Land.
Yeah, Super Mario Land 2. Yeah. That's what it was. And the picture of me is it's just me, super shit-eating grin, playing my favorite video game, and then this big fucking booger under my nostril, and this, and not hey, blow your nose, fucking huge, dude, fucking green, disgusting, awful, right? But I could give a fuck, man, because I'm playing my goddamn game, right? So I tell my folks this is over dinner last week, right? And they're like, what? We don't remember that. And so I'm going through, I'm telling them everything.
Right.
And then my mom was like, I'm pretty sure I told you to blow your nose and you refused to. Goes back to my rebelliousness, right?
Yep.
See, I don't remember that particular portion at all.
Right.
I just thought they took a cute picture and something that I remember as an incredibly cute, amazing moment. I didn't remember where I was. I know that I was level 5 Face Shrine when that picture was taken. How wild is that, right?
That's crazy.
But all my mom can remember is I fucking told you to clean your goddamn nose up and you didn't. So I was like, well, wait a minute. Did you just take the picture to be a jerk then? Cause I thought it was a cute moment.
She probably, like I said, in hindsight, again, she was looking at the big picture, not the small picture. She was looking at the big picture I'm going to capture a great moment and not realize example, I'm so bummed out. I took a family photo. Yeah. And we took family photos and they were really nice and they came out well. The one thing I didn't realize is that I was wearing my Bluetooth headphones around my neck, and my wife always brings up, she goes, I really like those pictures, except for those fucking headphones around your neck. And I'm like,
oh no.
I'm like, and then next time we took family photos, I didn't even bring them. I was like, these things are fucking staying at the house. I'm like, you gotta, cause that was so used to wearing them that I just wore them. And like, my father-in-law who took the pictures didn't tell me I was wearing them. My wife didn't notice I was wearing them until and then I bought this canvas. I blew it up all big and she's like, I really like the picture minus those headphones you're wearing. I'm like, fine, I'm doing this again. And then like next time we did them, I was like, are they here? Like I was like rubbing all over my neck. I'm like, they're not here, right? And she goes, no, they're not. I'm like, that's right. Good. Okay. We're good now.
I think you almost have to take a picture of that.
A big picture. I was like, beautiful family photo. And then my wife looks at it and goes, there's those headphones. Those headphones,
headphones.
Yeah. Headphones. So, yeah, I mean, again, sometimes that happens, but, so Game Boy, so hold on, though, by the way, so you were in October, baby, so you were literally a month away from being one of those kids that got dicked over and had, like, that birthday Christmas shit happen. Like,
yeah, I was pretty close.
So, you were on the bubble, bro.
Which is funny because my mom was born December the 23rd, so she got fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My brother-in-law's birthday is like at the end of December, and I'm like, bro, you got dicked every year. Thankfully, I was one of those June babies. So halfway through the year, I got some shit. And then another half a year, I was like, birthday, Christmas. Right. That's all it was. Like, and I'm assuming, was it the same for you as a kid? It was like birthday, Christmas, getting games?
Yeah, always.
That was the cycle.
Yeah, and it's funny because like because of course when you're I don't want to say a survivor of a divorced couple, but like when you have two Christmases, it's pretty fucking sweet.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's like it's such a bad. I mean, it's really sad as you think about it. Like as a parent, as like a child, you're like, oh, that's really sad. But then like Talladega Nights when they were like, I'm getting divorced, and the kids just go, yay, 2 Christmases. I was like, that's what every kid thinks. And it's so fucking mean, but it's truth. Like,
It's so true. Yeah. And cause like, and these are, cause of course we're talking like, the early 90s. So like, my plethora of gaming equipment includes, several Tiger Electronics, Street Fighter 2. If
the Tiger Electronics Street Fighter 2?
Dude, have you played it?
Yeah, it's really bad.
Oh, dude, I love it. I don't know what you're talking about.
Those are good.
So, like, it's so I remember I can in my mind's eye I can feel it, right? Like I know the sounds. I know that Zangief's a terrible character on the right side. I know because it's Zangief, E Honda, and Blanca on the right, and it's Ryu, Ken, and Chun-Li on the left. And like I've beaten the shit out of all of it. Like just every person. Like because it's funny is. Like, Zangief, of course, has the pile driver, right, in most of them. Right. But all you have, his super is just like a leg sweep. And like when I say leg sweep, it's just a kick. Do you remember this?
Yes.
Just a kick. That's it. Also, he's useless.
Yo, man, the Tiger Electronics had all the animations on the goddamn screen at once when you turned it on. So it's like, what is it going to look like? Dude, those Tiger Electronic games, like, some were okay, but, like, the worst is, like, when you took a well-known franchise that was, like, so popular, and they're like, let's make it a Tiger Electronic game, and everybody's like, what the fuck are we doing this? Why? Why would you do this? Home Alone. Good Lord. Home Alone.
I wish the people could see your facepalm right there.
Home Alone, the Tiger Electronic game. That sounds like fucking torture. That sounds like a Saw movie, like, trap. It's like, that sounds terrible.
And that's what's funny, because, like, I love it, right? But I know from a critical thinking mind that those games were fucking terrible.
They're real bad.
I think was there a Ninja Gaiden one too? I want to say there was one.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were all bad, but man, I had all of them.
I mean, because like I said, the funny thing was it was almost like a cheap alternative to gaming because like you get those parents or grandparents or whoever it is that's buying you gifts that really don't want to like buy you something super extravagant. So that was like the middle mark of it. It was like, well, this is video games. Oh, and it's Power Rangers, but it's not the $80 SNES Power Rangers game. Oh, let's get them this instead. Because I'm literally looking at Tiger Electronic games on Google right now, and there's like the Home Alone one looks fucking so bad. There's a Simon's Quest one. There is a Ninja Gaiden one. There's a Sonic 3 one. Dude,
I had
there's
that one too.
All right, I'm done. I'm going to close this tab. There is an MC Hammer Tiger Electronics
Oh,
game.
no, there
I'm
isn't.
done with that. So anyways, moving on.
Sure.
Jesus Christ. What could an MC Hammer Tiger Electronics game look like?
Kind of want to buy it now.
Oh, I don't. I want to pretend like that didn't happen. I want to pretend like I didn't know that happened. Although, it's intriguing. Like,
It is indeed.
I wonder if MC Hammer still has them like sealed at his house.
In a vault.
In a vault. So he's got all of his like his parachute pants and all of his shit. Yeah, I'm sure he's got that. So as you were growing up though, because you had kind of mentioned you had NES, you had Genesis, you had Game Boy. You probably didn't have Game Gear because not many people did, because I blame Game Gear for the bad environmental disaster that the world is today. I blame Game Gear and the batteries.
Yeah, wow, they were so bad. I did. It's funny. I don't know how I got one, but I remember
Nobody does. Nobody does. They just
That's a good question. That's a good question. That's a good point. That's a good point. I know I had it, and I know I had Sonic, and I had Echo, the Dolphin, and then of course I played it for 45 minutes, and it was dead.
Everybody who bought Echo thought that game was going to be like life changing or something because it was as basic as possible, but like.
Right.
Yeah.
Like objectively, was it a good game? Like, I don't know. I honestly don't know, because I remember like all my friends like losing their fucking mind about it, and I remember being like, all right, well, this is interesting. I'm gonna go back to play Sonic.
Right.
So like the other 35 minutes I have on this fucking thing.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think, honestly though, I think it's just like, I think people just were intrigued by the fact like it was, like it was, again, I think the other problem too is like, I'm not going to say Sega didn't have exclusives because it did, but Sega was trying to throw everything out there, just trying to see what would stick. Right. Obviously Sonic worked, but then they were like, here's Echo the Dolphin, here's Comic Zone, here's Vector Man, here's just like.
Fuck yeah, Vector Man.
Right. Here's just everything. Here's all these franchises. We're going to try to see if they work. And maybe they will, maybe they won't. But Echo was one of those that, like, I remember playing it, and then, again, I think it was just because I was a dumb kid. I was just like, what the fuck's the point of this game? Like, what are we doing right now? It just doesn't make sense. Like, I don't get it. But then again, if you go back and play it as an adult and think, like, games aren't just about shit blowing up, maybe there's some deeper meaning. I remember I'm like, even trying to, like, get to certain areas, I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, there's no, and of course, no one's talking. No one's like trying to show you the way to go. And it's kind of open ended where like you could go in different directions for the level. So it's kind of just like as a kid frustrating. But
yeah, I remember. I remember.
I mean, but again, now if somebody did Echo the Dolphin, it could be some hit indie game with a wonderful story and 2 hours long. Fuck off, whatever.
Yeah, I believe they call it Anzu.
Yeah, exactly. Apparently, that's supposed to be a good game.
Apparently, I haven't played it.
I don't know. But no, like, I mean, back then, like, again, the problem was, too, is you spent $60 on that, which you could have spent on something else. Like, anything else, and you probably would have had a little bit better time. But, Echo the Dolphin, that was just one of Sega's things they tried, man. Like, I don't shit on them for it, but, yeah, dude, that game was, it wasn't, again, I think we were just dumb kids and we just didn't realize what exactly it was supposed to be.
Yeah, I guess not. Which is funny to me because, like, at the time, I think I looked at, games very similarly. Because obviously I'm not looking at them from wow, this game design is like, the gameplay is unbelievable, and the graphic, I'm just like, am I having a good time? Great. Yeah. And I felt that way, the same way I felt about Echo the Dolphin as I did with Super Mario Land, as I did with Super Mario World, as I did with Sonic, as I did with Vector Man, as I did with Final Fantasy VII. And like, it at a certain point, I think, as a kid, because, you're there's air quotes so much you're responsible for, and it's weird now because like the weekends are like for the most part our game time when we could fit it in. I mean, I can only imagine being a father of four and trying to figure out how the fuck I'm going to get some me time to play some video games. Much less
you get very little sleep.
Yeah, sure, sure.
Very little sleep.
Sleep is boring anyway. Like I literally, I felt this way for 32 years. I will gladly submit to a case study of like, can we figure out a way to not have to sleep? Because I feel like I'm always missing something and I need more game time.
Well, the thing is, when you're a parent, you're like, you know what? I really want to play this game, so I'm going to stay up. But then, of course, you get old, and then like your kids wake you up super early, and you're just like, I really wish I could just sleep for 37 hours straight. That would be the
Yeah.
best. But, no, I mean, like, you just, again, if you give a shit about it, you'll figure out a way to fit it in. That's all it is.
And I'm so glad you said that, because it's so right, and I think it's a lesson I'm still really learning. Like, if it's important to you, you'll
Just
figure
fucking do
out.
it. Yeah.
You'll figure it out.
Just get it done. No big deal. You just gotta, if you give a shit about it. Example, I could be going to bed right now. But no, I enjoy podcasting so much, so I'm talking to you. So, like I said, if you like it enough, you'll figure out a way to do it. So, but yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying though about the fun with games though too. But also too, I think also as a kid, I think now kids growing up are going to be it's going to be very different, because like the fun factor's there, but also games are just so much more advanced than they were then.
Yeah.
Like the ability to tell a story, the graphics just on the realism side of things, it's just getting crazy. Whereas like back then, I didn't give a shit about story until I was actually older. And you know what I mean? Like if it was pretty, I was like, this game's going to be awesome because the graphics are good.
Right.
The game could play like complete shit and the story could make no sense and the gameplay controls suck, but it was pretty.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? That's what I gave a shit about then until PlayStation. Like all of my Genesis, most of the Genesis games I played like were mostly like whatever was popular, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, NBA Jam, that kind of shit. Like I was just like, what are my friends playing that's popular? As soon as I got to PlayStation is when I was like, holy shit, game stories are awesome. Like, really good.
Yeah, I think I'm trying to remember the first one that really pops into mind. Like, because Star Fox 64, not really. Mario 64, not really. Paper Mario, has a story. That's an incredible fucking game. I think that's really when it switched for me when JRPGs happened. So Final Fantasy VII.
And also, not to mention on Genesis, we weren't playing too many RPGs.
No,
that shit wasn't happening, bro.
No, and like I mentioned, I only owned Sonic, and then I'd go over to a friend's house to play Vector Man, and then Triple Play. And then, Matt, I gotta tell this story, about Final Fantasy VII. So I beat Final Fantasy VII and I didn't own it. So, let me tell you how that happened.
I'm not gonna be a dick and say, did you steal that too, but...
I did not steal it, actually.
Okay, that's good. Good.
But you could consider it that I stole somebody else's time, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
So, back in the day... Eidos Interactive, of course, made Tomb Raider 1 and 2, right? At the time, they came out with a demo disc with several games.
Great.
One of those
back then.
Yes. Everything, right?
Everything was demo disc.
Everything. Okay. One of those discs was one of those games on the disc was Final Fantasy VII.
Right.
And let me tell you how obsessed I was with that demo. So. For those out there that have played it, you're pretty familiar with the Mount Corel portion. That after you leave Costa del Sol, the demo ends as the FMV kicks off to take you to the Golden Saucer.
Right.
I played that demo so goddamn much that I got the level 2 limit breaks of just me going back and forth and back and forth. Now I don't own a PS1 at the time. I have Tomb Raider 1 and 2 on a PC, but I remember at the time I think it hadn't come out for PC yet.
No, it wasn't out for PC for a while.
But my friend Trey had a PlayStation because we would go over and play Crash Bandicoot all the time.
Right.
And also go outside and be, the 90s kids that we are.
Sure.
So again, kids are inherently selfish. As I continue to tell stories of me being selfish, I realized I'm not a bad kid. I'm just a kid.
Yeah, you're just a kid. Kids are selfish inherently because they're not adults and they don't have fully formed brains. No, you're good.
Yeah. So my genius idea was Trey's birthday's coming up. Trey has a PlayStation 1.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to ask my mother if she could buy Final Fantasy VII for his birthday from me.
The finesse. I got what you're doing.
Yeah.
I caught on.
Oh, yeah. So she does. Toys R Us, rest in peace. We go grab a copy, bring it over, he unwraps it. And this is, I remember it vividly. This is the direct quote. I say, "Let me show you how to play it." This is his birthday party. Keep it in mind. Right? So there's cake and things are happening, all this other stuff. let me tell you, that night, from the beginning of the game, I got all the way through the Shinra building in one night.
Jesus.
All night. Our play dates were Tuesdays and Thursdays. Hey, and so little Jacob would go to Trey's house, say hi to Trey's mom, go to his bedroom, and continue.
I was gonna say, basically, do it playing his system with the game that you bought him as a gift that you initially wanted.
Correct.
That's fine.
He eventually had started his own save and stuff like that.
Right.
It got so bad that his mother was like literally confronted me and was like, Jacob, you need to go outside and play ball with Trey now.
Yeah. Oh, so you were straight like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because there were times where he would watch.
Sure.
Right? Super cute kid. And there were times where he'd be like, hey, Jacob, do you want to go play ball? And I'd be like, no.
Do you want to do something else besides play a game? No.
By yourself? No. I beat that 70-hour plus game at his house.
Wow. I mean, so here's the thing. I won't say I did. I don't think I did something similar, but like there was times when, like, example, you would convince a friend to try to get a certain game, even though he may not have wanted it. Now, when I was younger, we, like me and the kids in our neighborhood, all had the same system. So I was like, yo, I'm going to get this game. You ask for this game. You ask for this game. You ask for this game. So that way, Christmas break, we have basically 4 or 5 different games that all of us can play. You know, so it's not like all of us are asking for the same game and only playing one game during Christmas break. But there was definitely moments where I was like, yo, Jared, you should get this. Or, yo, Jared, you should get this game. So you try to influence them, but I never actually got to the point where I was like, hey, I'm going to buy this game and just play it on your console.
Yeah, I was like, man, like, I am an evil genius.
Yeah, I mean, well, again, though, like, example, I remember one time I had a friend come over and stay the night, and one of my other buddies came over, and I was just like, fuck this, I'd rather hang out with him, and I just left my friend at my house while I went and go hung out with my other friend.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's a dick move. And then all of a sudden,
totally.
Like, dude, my friend was still there the whole time, and I came home and I was all smiles, and my dad just like looked at me, he's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And I'm like, what? He's like, dude, he's like, your friend came over here to spend time with you, and you fucking bailed on him to go hang out with them? I was like, yeah. And he's just like, dude, that's the worst thing ever. Like, please don't. And I remember after that, I was like, Jeremy, I'm really sorry, dude. I feel so bad. Like, I felt bad because, again, it wasn't like, in the moment, I was just like, yeah, that's cool. And he's just kind of like, he didn't know who they were. And he's just kind of like, oh, it's just, that's, okay, I guess I'll hang out here.
So did he, how did he ever talk to you about it? I mean, you're kids, so probably not.
I mean, I just went in there, like, after my dad basically lit my ass up, he was just like, dude, what is wrong with you? I immediately went there, I'm like,
I taught you better.
Yeah, he was, dude, because he was just like, he heard noises in my room and I wasn't there, and he walked in, he's like, where's Mitch at? And then I'm just like, he's like, oh, he went and played with his friends, and my dad was like, that fucking kid. I was like, woo. And I came in and I was all like, hey, I'm going to come home and play. And then my dad was just like, what is your problem? I'm like,
was your friend still there by that point?
Yeah, he was still there. He was staying the night.
Oh my God.
Like, dude,
that's right.
He showed up to stay the night, like, super early in the morning, and I bailed on him for like hours. And then I came back and he was just like in my room hanging out. And I was just like, he's like, you need to go apologize to him now. You will never do this. And again, now I think back on it and I'm like, dude, that's so fucked up to do. And I'm like, again, I'm a dumb kid. I was being selfish. So
yeah, of course.
That happens. But no, yeah, as far as story, you play Final Fantasy VII at somebody else's house. It's so funny. I won't say, like I said, I've convinced other people. I won't say, like, buying games, renting games for sure. I'll be like, yo, Pete, we need this game.
Yeah.
I'm convincing him just because it wasn't me renting it. It was them. I was like, yo, we need this game. And then, of course, I would play it. But that was the thing that's funny is, like, during the PS1 era, it was like, there was a lot of games, because I had a 64, but later in the life cycle. But like PS1 at the time, and then we talked, like I mentioned earlier, how technology now is advancing to the point where telling a story is insane. Going from like Genesis, Super Nintendo to 64 and PlayStation, like that technology right there for telling stories was insane. But it's funny because like during the whole PS1 era, I barely did co-op games. I actually did a lot of like single player games, just passing the controller around because like
Really?
Resident Evil was amazing. Silent Hill was amazing. Metal Gear Solid was amazing. So it was like, we're playing Metal Gear and all of us are just sitting there watching it like, holy shit, look at this. But then like, as soon as one person died, just pass it over. Right. So there was a lot of experiences like that where, you know, there were that was the other thing too. PlayStation didn't give really too much of a shit about multiplayer. 64 was all about multiplayer because it had the 4 control ports. So like, had we had a 64 instead, it'd be a little different. But I absolutely remember going to certain friends' houses and just not giving a shit what they wanted to do because they had an N64 with WrestleMania 2000. And I was like, I get you have plans of things we want to do. We're not doing any of that shit. We're playing WrestleMania.
Right.
And, yeah, that's, I mean, you did a similar thing, except you just happened to buy him the game that you wanted to play. So, I mean, that was it. Did you have, so like a lot of the friends that you had and everything, did they have the opposite of what you had as far as consoles go, so you can kind of go over there and do that? Because that's always the best, because most of the time, kids aren't fortunate enough to have both consoles in the house. So you have to choose one or the other, but it's always cool to have a friend that has it, because at least you can go experience the other thing.
Yeah, exactly. Super Nintendo, like, it's funny, because until, you know, past high school, you know, into college and things like that, I didn't own a Super Nintendo. I didn't own a PlayStation. You know, ROMs definitely help things.
Allegedly.
But yeah, allegedly, FBI. And so that definitely helped things. But yeah, like, you know, Super Mario World was beaten. I didn't, you know, steal or anything this time. Super Mario World was beaten at my friend Aaron's house in New Orleans when I lived there. My friends back in Jacksonville middle school had actually had an old Atari, like 2600, so that was my introduction to Centipede and shit like that, which was really awesome. And Asteroids blew my fucking mind. Oh my god. Right. I was so excited about that.
How crazy is it that good gameplay still trumps graphics any day of the week?
Dude, it really does. Arkanoid? Are you kidding me? Right. Oh my god! Like there's a up until recently, because they closed it, but it's actually the where I got my first job. There was this restaurant called Nero's Cafe, Italian restaurant in Jacksonville, and it had one of those like old school like tabletop, like you know, you look down and you can see, you know, Arkanoid, right? And I think it was Arkanoid and Miss Pac-Man and Galaga. So I was like in heaven. Like always. Right. And this was one of those, you know, cases of like, you go to church on Sunday and then you go eat, and, you know, I don't really want to eat. I just want to like, give me like $10 and I'm just going to burn it in this fucking machine. Right. 25 cents a piece. And then of course, you know, 10, 15 years later, you're working there and you're doing the same thing. Deja vu.
Taking your paycheck and going, can I get this in quarters, please?
Yeah, I will give this right back to you. You're welcome. You know, of course, at the time you're making $5.15 an hour, so who cares in 2003? So, but yeah, it's wild to think back on those things, because, like, you know, at the time you didn't really have an option. You figured it out. You hope for the best. I was very fortunate in the fact that I had friends that had the other systems, and even one had, because like I said, I didn't have to worry about, the reason why I didn't have to worry about the fact that I only had Sonic 3 and Sonic Knuckles and Sonic 2 was that my friend who had the Sega Genesis had like 30 other games. Right. What's interesting is I very rarely borrowed them. I would just always go over there. Like Streets of Rage. Oh my god, it's so
such
good.
A good game.
Oh, so good. I don't think I've ever even touched a cartridge. You know, like, it was always like the older brother, cousin, person, whatever the fuck. Right. Hey, Jacob, you want to play Streets of Rage? Fuck yeah, I want to be the girl. Right. It's just funny because they were always like, oh. But I was like, Blaze is the best fucking character, dude. You guys are idiots.
Again, that was your masculinity. Like, girls,
Yeah.
You be the girl. Like, girl, this girl lights people up. What are you talking about right now? Mm-hmm. But no, that makes sense, though. Like, also, too, though, like, I mean, the whole, well, what's funny now is, like, I've mentioned, like, couch co-op was fun because also that was the only option you had. Sure. Now the internet exists, and, you know, certain people that I know have told my son, like, he needs to get out and interact with people more, and I get that. But also, too, now the internet has made interacting so much easier that you don't need to leave your house. Obviously, you still want your kid to go out and talk to people physically, to not be a psycho to just have zero social skills. But like, if we had the internet back when we were kids, we would have never left our fucking houses. Like, we would have just done what people are doing now. And like, my son will get into a party with his friends and play Fortnite, and his buddy's playing Ark, and he's playing this, and he's playing this, and they're talking like we would if we were in the same room.
Right.
And as sad as it is, as you become an adult and have less time for everything, that's what I do with my friends now. If I didn't have a commonality with like gaming, we'll get into a party and like my buddies are playing NHL and I'm playing Fortnite and we're just shooting the shit, like just talking. Like, that's how easy it is to do it now. But like back then, you know, borrowing the game was cool, but like also you really liked going to your friend's house because that was how you interacted. So
exactly,
it makes sense
you didn't have much of a you didn't have much of a choice, and that's I think that's what's strange is like I'm a mega loud, boisterous extrovert now, like, but that wasn't always the case. I was definitely a lot more introverted as a kid, but would I be an extrovert if I had the internet? I honestly don't know, and I think that's why your question is so challenging / interesting / awesome, is because it's cool that we don't know, right? Because we didn't have the luxury of finding out, you know. And plus, I think, you know, for my overall health, it probably helped all those walks, you know.
Yes, for sure.
So you know, get a little exercise as you're growing up. So I think that my parents would have probably put a little pressure on me to get out.
Right.
So I think it would have been less, but I think it still would have happened. I think there would have been, obviously, as I mentioned before, you know, me being a little rebel and pushing back as much and as possible, like including, you know, weeknight Conan O'Brien 1:30 a.m. with my little brother, always. I think that I would have challenged that a lot. I think I would have been like, well, but they're right here. Like, here, Mom, talk to Aaron.
Right,
you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, I don't have to go anywhere. And then even further than that, I don't have to worry about being late for curfew because I'm already home. Correct. Beat that. Checkmate.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that, like, it's crazy because, like, you know, we grew up without the internet. We grew up without cell phones being in everybody's hands. We grew up without even phones being in everybody's rooms. Like, how do you know someone's over at their house? Oh, their bike's in their front yard. Yeah. That's how I know that person's there. You just ride around the neighborhood. Where are people at? Now it's just to the point where, like, here's everything. Like, here's literally anybody you want to talk to at any point in time, anywhere, period.
Yeah.
Communicate, have fun. I remember, like, Sega had a thing called Sega Net, or Sega Channel, which was, like, sorta internet-ish, where they were allowing, like, game downloads, and, like, of course, like, when the internet started happening bigger on Xbox and 360 and PS3 or whatever, I remember just, like, I don't have to go anywhere else, but there's still moments, like, I still feel like couch co-op with Overcooked with my wife is literally some of the funnest times I've ever had playing games in my life. Yeah. And now it's weird because you go to a certain, you go so far to one point that people enjoy going back, or it's retro. I just, you know, I still think there's fun with the couch co-op, especially games like Smash. Dude, fucking yelling at your buddy right next to you that he sucks and you're better than him. Like,
always
right next to you, it's the best. Do you know the internet? It still works, but it doesn't have that gusto. It doesn't have that, like, I'm in your face, I'm so much better than you, look at me. Yeah. Like, there's something about that, but, I mean, dude, the internet just made it convenient. That's all.
Yeah, that's the truth. And, like, it's still, I was when Smash Ultimate got released, and it didn't even, like, dawn on me that we could play online, because we've been couch, you know, co-oping this thing for, you know, God, 15 years? Is it 15? Like, forever long, right? Yeah. Like, something crazy, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, 64, so yeah, it has to be around there. 15, 20, almost 20 years. And it, like, blew my mind. I'm like, matchmaking?
Shit, Smash Bros is literally 20 years old.
Yeah.
It came out January 21st, 1999. God
there damn. It is. There it is. So, like, it's, and, like, I'm like, oh my God, like, we lobbies? I don't understand. I don't like it.
Also, Nintendo's fucking online is garbage. I don't care what any of you say. It is real bad. Just, yo, Nintendo, you're in good bed with Xbox. Just fucking ask them for help. Be like, hey, can you help us? Like, please.
that's the thing. When Smash, I got Smash, and again, I barely have time to play games, but I've been playing it, and I'm thinking, like, I can play this game online, but also, too, like, I almost don't want to. Like, I almost just want to have people over to play it, because, like, I think back of Smash, and I think this is such a good game with other people here. What's funny, though, is, like, games like Halo used to be that, but then Halo 2 Online was so fucking good that I was like, I don't ever want to see any of you people again. I just would rather do this at home. For real. I just want to play this online now because this online experience is so good. But like, yeah, I mean, there's certain Nintendo still gives a shit about couch co-op, and God bless them, because my family and I for Christmas we got Mario Tennis and we played 4-player for that. Super Mario Party is so fucking good. It's so good, and I'm so happy they gave a shit about it. Like,
I gotta pick it up,
yeah, and you know, but like right now, if you try to most games on Xbox, and I get the technical limitations and all that stuff, but like, there's not as many of that as like on Xbox or PlayStation as there is Nintendo. Nintendo still fully gives a shit about 4 players playing together, and God bless them because they're doing a good job with it.
Exactly, and especially when they've been marketing, you know, their systems to have that. Like every
commercial is multiple people playing together.
Yeah.
Like sitting next to each other. Like none of their commercials focus on online or anything like that. They're just like, no. And I mean, they even got to the point where, example, I went to a Kind of Funny meet and greet in Arizona, which was phenomenal.
How was that?
It was amazing.
Good shit? Awesome.
So awesome. But, and in a way, I'm not going to say I had to bribe my kids, but in a way, so I was like, hey kids, I'm not bringing you to this because I don't want you in this chaos. You just stay home, or I'm going to take you to your grandpa's house. You can hang out over there. And they go, can we bring the Switches? And I'm like, sure.
Yeah.
Fine, whatever. Just to keep you busy and not have you bitch. Sure. But then I didn't realize, like, at that meet and greet, there were so many people with Switches and so many people just sitting at tables playing Smash together. And I'm like, fuck, this would have been really cool to have a Switch right now. But I'm also happy that I gave it to my kids so I can come to this thing in the first place.
Right.
But no, like, that right there, bringing that system together and going to a place and playing, like, I can't imagine at, like, an E3 or a PAX. Like, everybody, I mean, like, mother's got one just walking around. Like, that's insane.
Yeah, man. Yeah, because I was very fortunate to be able to go to the first Kind of Funny thing I went to was Live 3, and then I went to prom as well. And they were everywhere. Like, everyone was playing. And so, like, it's crazy. Like, there was a moment where I got my drink in my hand, and, like, because I actually, on purpose, I was like, I want to interact with people, like, for realsies. Like, we can do this forever. And then what we ended up doing was, you know, going to Union Square Park and playing playing Mario Kart. Like 8 of us or something like that later on that day. So we still checked that box, but, like, it's just, there was just a moment where I was just like, this is our lives now. And how fucking crazy is that? Like, 5 years ago, no fucking way, you know, much less 10, 13, 15, 20.
Right. And so, like, oh, everybody come here. Now it's like literally everybody just bring your shit to this location.
Right. And it goes back to your point about wired controllers. You know, 15 years ago, we were like, yo, I got the fucking Wavebird, bruh. Fucking beat me. real quick, Wavebird, one of the best first-party wireless controllers ever made. Because I remember during that, I worked at a Game Crazy. I don't know if you know what that is. Game Crazy was basically it was a GameStop, but it was attached to Hollywood Video, which was a video rental store. That is crazy.
Yeah. So
I never knew that existed. Holy shit.
God. Yeah.
So wait. Okay, we gotta take a moment for this.
Sure.
Okay. So I worked at Blockbuster for about 6 months, and it was one of the best jobs of all time. Of course, it paid shit, so that's why I left after 6 months.
Of course it was.
But we had a Hollywood Video across the street, which is wild to think about in hindsight, right? There's no way that would have ever worked, or wouldn't work now anyway. But so and obviously Blockbuster had games and Hollywood Video had games. In this scenario, they had a separate game store attached to it.
So basically, within that Hollywood Video, and I'm not exaggerating, they had a chain link fence that sectioned off a corner, and it basically it was GameStop. It had pre-orders, new and used games, trade-ins, all that, and
That's wild.
Yeah, and it was possibly my favorite job I've ever had because it was me, my brother-in-law, and one other guy, and we fucked around and we had a blast and it was awesome. But, like, I remember working there, and everybody had like, eventually wired controllers were still with consoles. It wasn't until 360 when like wireless became like a standard. But like, I remember, Logitech made the best PS2 wireless controller. It was awesome. They also made the best Xbox wireless controller. Now, they still felt different. They still felt a little off than like a normal DualShock or a normal Xbox, S controller. But then like the Wavebird was like the gold standard. It was made by Nintendo. It was a fucking GameCube controller that was perfect. It wasn't misshaped. It was nothing. It was perfect. And like everybody was like, people would come in and literally ask me, what is a Wavebird for an Xbox? Like, what's the equivalent? And I'd have to go that. But it's still not the same shape. It's still not perfect. Like that Wavebird, I remember, and I'm awful for doing this, but also right now I think about it like, when the fuck would I care? I had 4 Wavebirds, and I remember.
Oh my god, you were so rich.
No. So here's the thing. Here's the thing though. I wasn't rich. I worked at a video game store where people would trade in things. Now, my brother-in-law was the coolest person ever and goes, hey, if we offer $15 for this item, go ahead and give the dude $15 of your own money and just keep the item. So I got a lot of shit cheap for that reason. Because, a guy would come in and go, I can give you $15 in store credit, or I can give you $15 cash out of my pocket. And I would just keep the item. Dude, I bought Guitar Hero before it was sold mass market. Guitar Hero 1 was only sold at GameStop. Somebody came and traded in, and that was like $20. And I was like, I'll give you $20. They're like, cool. I got Guitar Hero for $20. That was like an $80, $90 game. I got my GameCube.
How did you not get fired for that?
Because my brother-in-law was doing it and told me to do it. But I had, every time somebody come in for a Wavebird, I was like, I'll pay you just for this. And I had 4 Wavebirds, and it was the coolest thing in the world. And then as soon as I found out they were worth money, like before GameCube adapters came out, and as soon as I found out they were worth something, I sold all fucking 4 of them. I was like,
I bet.
I want to get rid of these. But no, dude, like, yeah, you know how awesome it is to have 4 of those ports things? Just like,
oh my god.
And then, of course, though, batteries. Batteries were good on them, but still, like, all the wireless controllers at the time, you're like, oh, batteries suck. By the way, shout out to Nintendo. You still have the best battery life of every wireless controller I've ever seen.
It's the truth. It's the truth.
You say 40 hours, and I go bullshit, and I know you're.
And then you drain it. Yeah.
You're like, wow, like good for you. Fuck that DualShock 4 that has like 4 hours of battery life. You.
Not even, man. Like I don't think that there's more. I'm always, bink, bink, bink. Got the battery low, and
I've been playing Spider-Man for 3 hours. What the fuck? Like,
hold on, baby.
I gotta go get a cable. This is bullshit. Xbox controller, play and charge is good, but like nothing literally compared. That Switch Pro controller is almost perfect.
Right.
It's pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Not to mention I like the stick layout because they basically copied Xbox, and I'm a big Xbox fan. So, but it's basically the same thing, right? But so as you're going though, you had mentioned you got PS2. Obviously, you continued JRPGs on that thing. So
yes.
So at that point in time, though, you were in college. So was that something you said you asked for that for Christmas? Was that like your last like hurrah Christmas present?
So I got my PS2 when Kingdom Hearts came out. So that's 2001. So I'm still in high school at the time.
Gotcha. Okay.
So
we were in high school when PS2 came out. That's right.
Yeah. So that was a fucking game changer. Quick Kingdom Hearts story. I had a tradition that every time I would have a session with Kingdom Hearts, I had to watch the opening over and over again. Or not over and over again. Every session I'd have to rewatch the opening. So at first, what was funny about 3 was I was like, well, how am I gonna? They don't have it in the thing. So am I gonna have like start a new game plus and then exit? And no, well, as I found out now, they just kind of hold on to the cutscenes and you can rewatch it. So tradition continues. Fucking Jesus, 18 years later. But
right.
So PS2 wise, after Kingdom Hearts, Final Fantasy X was huge for me. Incredible game. I loved it so fucking much. I still think that the ending is kind of weak sauce, and I think 10-2 is actually pretty good, pretty underrated. And then I kind of, actually, the very first time I ever called out of work was due to Final Fantasy 12, as a matter of fact.
That works.
Yeah, I played it all night. and I called my boss and I was like, I'm sick, and I went to bed.
I'm a liar. I'm sick.
I'm sick.
I can't come
I
in.
went to bed.
Yeah,
and I felt pretty great.
I've never called out. Here's the thing: when I worked at the game store, I never called out to play a video game because that would be kind of obvious. You know, like, oh, you're fucking sick on the day this game comes out. No shit. However, I clearly planned days off for games. I was
sure, smart man.
I was like, I need this Tuesday off because this is coming out. I need this. And we would take turns doing the same shit, though, because, like, my brother-in-law, we were all into, like, mostly the same things, but we were all into slightly different shit. So it'd be like, hey, this Tuesday I want off because I want to play this. All right, cool. Then this Tuesday I want off because, like, we would trade back and forth and all that. So
yeah, you balance, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Did you, so obviously we're getting into you being in high school. Did you ever get to a point where you fell out of video games for any reason?
That's a really good question. And the not until actually pretty recently, due to adulting, but that was more about time really than anything else.
Sure.
And just trying to find it. It's so innately a part of me that I never lost that love.
Right.
It's like though the video and I obviously there's a lot of talk about video games art and what's the best medium. I think that video games are by far completely untouchable as a medium of expression and of art. It's untouchable.
Right.
And that's never left. Going back to the PS2, the first time I booted up Okami, oh my god. I think I cried actually. I think I cried.
A real pretty game.
It was. Yeah, I think I cried. I'm a big crier.
Well, it's fine that people who cry are more emotionally stable anyways.
I agree.
That's a study I've actually read. So.
Oh, even if you didn't, I believe you.
Yeah, okay.
Because I'm kind of the control of that study.
Right.
But yeah, I remember how, like, just listening to music and just walking across, like, or running across those fields as Amaterasu is something that I'll never forget. Like, I remember I was on record as saying like fuck Twilight Princess. Like, this is the best, like one of the best Zelda games. Obviously, Link's Awakening is still the best. Right. But this is like one of the best Zelda games of all time. And it's an unbelievable game. Yeah, like, and I think that's where, like, between the PS1 RPGs and, like, we could have a whole goddamn podcast about the JRPG library on PS1, but
right.
I think after that, like, those are the ones that really kind of come to mind, or those, really, like, graphically we're hitting another level, and voice acting and things like that,
right? Which
is wild to think about, because I would love to find out what was the first, like, voice acted game, because, like, I'd argue it's somewhere near Tales of Fantasia on the Super Nintendo, which never came out here until the GBA way later. But incredible game if you've not played it. I actually played it on Super Nintendo. Get a ROM of it, whatever. It's not a big deal. FBI, calm down. That game still stays with me. It's one of the prettiest fucking 2D games I've ever seen. I've never seen a 2D game be able to have water reflections of the sprite twice. I've never seen anything like that, much less voice acting.
The thing is, the problem is if you consider voice acting, talking over graphics or sprites or things like that, because Sega CD had full motion video, but that was like video that was you know what I mean? But that's not, so that's the thing is that's not really a voiceover, because that's actually like filmed with live people, you know what I mean?
Oh,
like,
yeah, like Night Trap, shit like that.
Right, yeah. I do fucking Night Trap. But I'm talking like, yeah, it'd be a good question to ask, like, because I mean, obviously games like putting voice to graphics, not voice to just filming a person and putting that in a game, because you can easily do that. Now you can, but I mean, like, yeah, because that's, I mean, around that time is when technology started getting to the point, like, even PS1 had voiceovers for, Metal Gear. Like, I think Metal Gear, and I'm just like, fucking look at this. Now, what's funny is don't look at the graphics of Metal Gear 1 because they're atrocious now. Ooh, and that's the only problem is that whole generation of, PS1, 64, it's so jarring visually. You're like, fuck, this looks awful. But, again, at the time, gameplay was... Also, at that time, we were like, holy shit, this is the realest looking game ever, and now we're all stupid for thinking that.
We're all stupid.
We're all stupid for thinking that. Because now you look at games, you look at, like... Dude, I've even seen screenshots of Kingdom Hearts 3, and I'm like, fuck. Look at this shit. Like,
you gotta play it. Like, you gotta play it.
Again, I've played some, haven't gotten far. job and stuff. But just no time. But like it's so crazy that like even the gameplay wise, like Metal Gear Story is so good, and it's just like shit. And like I said, PS2, and then it just keeps getting better and better. I remember Wind Waker coming out and people hating on it hard, and my brother-in-law being one of the only people that were like, fuck every one of you, because this is gold, this is brilliant. And like he's always been that guy. And like of course when HD Remaster came out, everybody's like, I loved Wind Waker. Like,
it's like fuck all of you.
You hated this game. Majora's Mask for 3DS comes out, I love that. Shut your mouth.
You're a liar.
So many people were just shitting on you when you came out. But no, I mean, right. But I mean, the thing is, as far as like falling out of games, I mean, like falling out of games due to time is different. Like that's just clearly different.
You're not falling out. You still clearly love it.
Yeah, you have the passion for it. You want that is like your main hobby. It's just a matter of like figuring out how to get it done and responsible, being a responsible adult and stuff like that. That makes sense. I stopped playing video games almost entirely for 4 years because I skateboarded.
Holy shit!
I didn't, dude. Here's what's crazy. That whole during high school.
Mm-hmm.
So PS1, Xbox, GameCube. I didn't play shit. I didn't play anything until I got out of high school and I started that video game store job. And then literally it was like...
You caught up.
I literally caught up. I had every one of them. And I was literally like, what did I miss? And I'm like, this is crazy. I missed a ton of shit. But again, I had amazing time skateboarding and I'll never change that. But yeah, I mean, like there's some people that like, oh, I got into sports or oh, I got into this and that's where I stopped playing games. But like, or it's not like you said though, like some people went to college and they were like, college consumed my life. I didn't do anything else besides school, college.
Right.
That makes sense. But then also some people say I played GoldenEye in college and it was the greatest goddamn time of my life. And I'm like, yeah, that makes sense too.
Such a college game.
Right.
Exactly. It definitely had a resurgence.
4-player co-op.
Sure.
Exactly.
So,
as you were growing, so when you got to like PS3, 360, that genre, or that generation, I should say, that was when you started buying your own stuff.
Yes. Yeah. So I've never owned a PS3. I was,
you're good.
Yeah, right.
You're fine.
I got a 360, played the fuckity fuck out of that.
Yep.
And I was one of the first people that I knew that got a Wii. And, so of course, the Halo 3s of the world and
Jesus Christ.
Twilight Princess. It's funny. We were talking about couch co-op earlier, and I think back to, we were playing a, multiplayer map, one of the desert ones. I forgot the name of it now, but, and we always played Save the Last Bullet, and we had this the zombie ones, one of the zombie maps, right? Where like if you die, you become a zombie, and you have like one of the
sword,
whatever, plasma swords, and you're super fucking fast.
Yep.
So I'll never forget it for the rest of my life. It's something we talk about all the time amongst my friends. Is this particular map that we had set up was we only had 2 ammo depots on either side, and like there's this main like pyramid looking thing in the middle. And we knew that a couple of us half of us are dead or whatever, and we're all together up on this hill that that we've been able to kind of pick them up as they charge us. A couple of us had to go get weapons, right? Like we're low, and we're like, okay, you Kevin, you Greg, and like right before they leave, I just chuckled, joking. Was like, well, you know how this goes, guys. We've all played Resident Evil. We've seen zombie games. Only one of you's making it back. And we're like, so we're all just kind of chit-chatting, passing the time, waiting for them to come back. And I hear my friend Kevin just let out a blood-curdling scream. Just losing it. And we're like, oh my God, what happened? What happened? Right? So, and he comes over the mic and he just goes, I'm like, Kevin, we're trying to console him.
Right.
We're like, he's just like, we lost Greg.
Just full on man tears.
We all just fucking fall out in laughter. Zombies all kill everybody.
Of course.
We're just laughing so hard. And that was just the end of the game. It was like, it's that moment isn't possible with couch co-op.
Right.
Right? Not to mention that we're talking about, at this point, 12 or 13 different people. All over the at least the state of Florida, if not a couple of different states. And that's like, I've never been like a big multiplayer guy. That was very much a buy this game because you kind of want to see where the story goes, but also like have some fun with your friends going back to the social section, right? But that moment is still something we talk about. Fucking, I have goosebumps just thinking about it. Like 11 years later or whatever, right?
Oh my god. Because that's, I mean, like you said, that was like when online was at its peak, and like, I don't say at its peak because fucking Fortnite's the biggest game in the world, but I'm talking that was like to the point where it was still new, but it was still awesome and it was still good. The only Halo I remember, Halo 3 I remember playing the hell out of, but the best one was like my buddy, I can't remember honestly if it's Halo 2 or Halo 3, but like my buddy Jared and I just loved the shit out of Halo and we played it all the time. And we were playing with this guy, and this was back when like party chat didn't exist. So like you had to talk with the people you were actually playing with. You know, you couldn't just party up and just talk to your boy and that's it. Which, by the way, thank God for parties, because people on the internet were terrible with music and just mic etiquette was awful. But anyways, we were playing this game with this guy, and we were in a Warthog doing capture the flag, and we were just like, holy shit, this guy's really good. And his name was Stallone something. And then like he would just like do these like fucking turns with the Warthog, getting in and out of the capture the flag, doing these jumps. And we were just like, Stallone, fuck yeah. And we're like screaming at the top of our lungs, like, holy shit, Stallone, you're the fucking greatest. And we were just like losing our minds. And then like me and Jared are just like, I don't know what we were on, but we were just laughing hysterically. And I was like, dude, this guy, and I just thought of Rambo, because Sylvester Stallone. I'm like, he's fucking doing it. He's the best. And then like, it got real quiet. And then all of a sudden this guy in this really like quiet voice goes, my name's Stallion, guys. And we just,
oh my God.
We read it wrong the whole time. But then when he said his name was Stallion and he had the quimpiest voice, he's like, my name is Stallion. And we just like,
oh my God.
It was over. It was over. We were just like, bro, first off, if your name's Stallion, you can't be coming at us with that voice. Second off, you should be just name Stallone and just stop. And we were praising your ass so hard, and then you just came and go, my name's Stallion. Like, oh. But dude, there's still moments where we play fucking Halo 5, and all of a sudden it's just like, Stella! And me and like Jared just like fucking freak out. That'll be the one thing that we could die tomorrow and be like, yo, you remember Stallone back in Halo, dude? That was the shit. So.
And that's a great point, because like we actually had a thread on Facebook about like, you know, what's everyone's favorite multiplayer like moments or whatever, right? And I didn't add any context to it, and I just went in all caps, we lost Greg, and like I like heart,
just like
I remembered it because I think the reason why it's so memorable was that because like if you saw a dot on your radar, it's too late. Yeah. You're dead because that's how fast those zombies were.
Exactly.
So the thing is Greg never saw it coming. Kevin did. He saw the dot and he just goes, Greg, and he just sees. Right. So that's why he ran. Right. Exactly. So perfect.
That's nice. As far as it goes, I asked you earlier. I don't know if you've come up with an answer yet. I asked you off. I'm going to say off camera, whatever. Can you remember the worst video game you've ever bought with your own money?
Yeah, man. One comes to mind, but I don't think it's because it's particularly terrible. Mm-hmm. I just think it was not as memorable as I wanted it to be.
Okay.
It was a PS2 game called Kinetica.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. And I think I became a Kinetica apologist because I don't even remember what the reviews were. They weren't like awful, but they weren't great either. I almost kind of want to look and see what they were. But I remember being in love with it. But essentially, it's like the problem is that F-Zero did it better.
Yeah, I mean, that was also in a mode where like Sony, because that was a Sony Santa Monica game. What the fuck, man? Dude.
Oh my God, David Jaffe was on that shit. Holy shit.
Designer David Jaffe. Dude, Santa Monica made God of War.
Yeah.
Dude, look at that come up, man, from Kinetica to God of War. Good for you. No, I mean, as far as it goes, 77. It was like an average game. But like, that was also during Sony's PS2 era where they were like, I'm not going to say they lost all their franchises, but like Spyro Crash, their big ones, gone.
Right.
So they were just like throwing everything out there. So they had their own thing too. They still had like Siphon Filter. They still had, like some franchises carry over, but then they started like all these new franchises. Like, I mean, God of War started on PS2. Like that was also David Jaffe. Dude, if we look at the history, it might have been Connecticut and then fucking God of War, which is...
I think it might have been.
Which is crazy to think of.
That's wild.
No, I'm sorry. Connecticut, War of the Monsters, Downhill Domination, and then God of War.
That's crazy.
Oh, and don't worry, right after God of War, they made The Con, which no one fucking remembers from PSP. And they made Neopets.
Oh my god. Neopets.
Alrighty.
Holy shit.
Great.
So it's funny though, because I look at it now, and I remember being like, guys, this game is so good. Like I was the fucking preacher. I was super, and like I'm a hype man now. Like I think I'd probably be able to be like, you guys got to play this fucking game. And I'll even throw it. It was made by the people that made God of War, so you know it's going to be good. The benefit of hindsight.
This game is it's okay.
It's all right. It's all right.
It's okay. I mean, like I said, it's not even like you said. It's not the worst game you bought, but also too, it's just one of those games that, like, again, I won't say one of the worst games I bought, but like a bad experience was Just Cause 3.
Sure.
I saw all these YouTube videos of all these people strapping rockets to cows and launching them into orbit. I was like, this looks incredible. And then I played it on, and I'm stupid and not realizing all these people are playing on PC because this game is running way too well. And then I played it on the original Xbox One, and it ran like dog shit. And I was just like, I accepted defeat like an hour in. I was just like, this is not good.
This is how it ends.
Get better. There was some patch that came out that supposedly made it better, and I tried it afterwards, and it was still just framey and bad. And I was just like, again, this is a cool game. It's just not. I don't have the right machine running this proper, so it happens.
Fuck PC gaming.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. I mean, Brandon, my friend Brandon will hate me, but fuck PC gaming. Get an Xbox. Yeah. Get a PlayStation. Get fucking familiar.
Yeah, suck it, Brandon.
Brandon's coming on to episode 100, and he's going to tell me all about how he loves PC gaming. So it's okay. That's just one of those things I was too broke to get into, to be honest. Like, my family didn't have enough money to do that. So sorry.
No, like, and it's like I can't justify spending over $1,000 on this machine when I've got a perfectly good working MacBook Pro and my PS4 and my Switch is in the other room.
Right.
It just doesn't make any sense to me.
You're good. You're perfectly good. So as far as it goes, gaming habits today, obviously you're an adult now, so gaming's harder and everything.
Sure.
So, I mean, the thing is, though, is that's what happens. It happens, but again, as long as you give a shit about it, you just find time and you'll make it happen.
Yeah,
so.
and I think I appreciate it more. I think that's, as with anything in life, right? Because, you have such a finite amount of time. I mean, you could go down the rabbit hole of that specifically, right? And, go back to your point about things that you're passionate about and making time for them. Right. I beat, the shit out of God of War. I played the shit out of Spider-Man. Spider-Man by far is, by the way, the greatest, like,
superhero game ever made.
I'd argue that Peter Parker is the greatest character of all time ever created. I could fucking write an essay. But I think he is. There's no one more empathetic. There's no one more relatable. He's the man, and Yuri Lowenthal crushed it. Right. That game is very special. That was my game of the year last year.
Me too.
I love God of War, but it does not have the emotional resonance that Spider-Man does by far.
Yeah, I personally, and the only reason why I say I didn't say God of War is my game of the year is because I don't give a shit about any mythology. Period. Like all that time period stuff, I don't care about.
Yeah.
Cool. Whatever, but like I just don't. I played Spider-Man. I was like, I'm in love. This game is incredible.
Yeah, that's funny you say that because I was a Greek mythology like buff back in like middle school. Like they hit all the right tones for me when I was like Norse mythology. That's right. I meant to say I said Greek, but I meant to say Norse. I was actually big nerds about both, but
when those subjects came up, I didn't give a fuck.
Yeah, it wasn't your thing, and that's okay.
I'm good.
Yeah, but Spider-Man was like everything I wanted. I was not prepared for being able to just jump into swinging that way. I legitimately froze.
So good.
For a second. I was like,
it has a fast travel, and I never wanted to use it ever. I was like,
I know, right? But the little scenes on the train
are the best. And I did it for the platinum trophy. I had to, but
yeah,
no, it's good. By the way, Spider-Man, only platinum I have.
Really? I have 0 platinums.
It's the only one I gave a shit about. I love Horizon. That was my game of the year 2017. Awesome. I got to a point where I was done with it, and I was like, cool, I got to move on. I got to play other shit. When Spider-Man happened, and I played it and beat it, and I was like, I don't want this to end. I just want to keep fucking playing this. And yeah, I got the platinum on that one. So
we're talking earlier about GTA 5. It's my GTA 5 now. It's because GTA 5 was, I got like 30 minutes. I'll run around and kill people. Now I'm like, I've got 30 minutes. I'll run around and save people.
That's what I did until I got the platinum, and I was like, and what's funny is like, all 3 DLCs came out by the time I didn't buy it right away. I bought it later just because I had other shit to play. But then, yeah, and then now the DLC. But I played so much of it in such a short period of time that I was like, I'll play the DLCs later. And like I waited all of them to come out, so they're out now. But again, I still got other shit to play.
They're great.
So.
They're great.
I heard they are.
Yeah, they're great. Especially the first and the third one.
Nice.
Very much the classic. The second one is always not great in every trilogy.
Sure.
Almost.
Yeah, for the most part. Except for Empire. Empire's better than Jedi.
Yeah, you're right. That's true.
That's like the only exception. And by the way, because if anybody says Toy Story 2 is better than 3, fuck yourself. Like, 1 and 3.
Still haven't seen Toy Story 3. And I need to fix it.
By the way,
I know.
No. You want to cry?
I do.
You go right ahead. Go
there it is.
Go cry. Grown men in the theater that opening weekend, just like, I can't handle this shit right now. Really good movie. If people want to check you out on the internet and see what you're crying about, where would they go?
Amazing segue. You can follow me on Twitter at Duval King Jabub, DUVAL KINGJABUB. Shout out to Duval County, Duval, as we like to say it, down here in the Jacksonville, Floridas. That's really about it. Instagram as well. I'll have some projects to talk about in the near future, hopefully. But, in the meantime, if you want to hear me talk about work and caps lock my excitement about everything and live the hype life, follow along.
And I'll have links in the show notes as well, so you can check him out there and see what he's playing and see what he's retweeting. Because he'll have fun things, and he talks about Kingdom Hearts, which, I mean, I could talk another hour about how much I love Kingdom Hearts, but...
Dude, me too.
We'll talk about that later.
Yes,
For the Kingdom Hearts 3 podcast. No, I'm not doing that.
Right.
I have enough. It's hard enough doing one podcast.
Our podcast.
It's so many podcast and then podcast. All right. Well, thank you so much, man. I really do appreciate you being on the show and sharing all your stories, man. Thank you.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. It was a pleasure. Thank you for inviting me. Kyle Stevenson, appreciate the hookup, yo.
Yes. Kyle Stevenson, you're awesome. Thank you so much, man.
All right, and again, thank you, Jacob, for being on the show. Guys, if you want to check him out on Twitter, go ahead and follow him at Duval King Jabub. I also will have links in the show notes there. He's got some stuff in the works. Nothing going on right now, but make sure you follow him there so you can check out all the things he does. Guys, if you want to be on the show just like he was, send me a tweet at MitchPower1116 on Twitter, or at the podcast Twitter page, which is at GUG Podcast on Twitter. We also have a Facebook group. Just go ahead and search up Growing Up Gaming there. You could also find us on YouTube. Search GUG Podcast, and of course, GUGpodcast.com. Thank you guys so much for returning to the show. Hopefully you subscribe to iTunes, rate us on iTunes, share us with a buddy. That's the most important thing. I want to make sure that everybody has a chance to share their stories, because everybody's got different stories. Everybody has different experiences, and that's the reason why I do this show. So, again, thank you, Kyle Stevenson, for all of the love. He sent me a whole list of people. I've reached out to them, and so many of them have been nice enough to be on the show. So don't forget to share that with your friends. And, of course, rate us on iTunes and, all the positive things that people say about their podcasts and stuff. So I appreciate you guys listening. Thank you guys so much for the support, and I will catch you guys next week with another new episode. See ya.